welcome into Orange&White Takeover. I'm Noah Caldwell.
Matt Brewer.
John Broyles.
We also have Michael Beckham in the studio as our producer. This is our first week having a producer. How you doing, Mike?
Doing pretty good. How are you guys doing today?
Feeling pretty good. We're excited to be back with y'all. This is our podcast, Volume 3. We'll be with y'all every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Got a little bit of update on the fall camp. John, what have you been hearing lately?
Well, a little bit has gotten cleared up. Jarrett Garantano continues to look good in the quarterback competition, but we've heard after the open practice, Chris has tightened back up the race a little bit. Nothing set in stone, but heard a little bit of Jesse Simonton reporting today, and he had said that his bet was 100% on Garantano. He still thought it was mind-boggling that most odds had Chris as the favorite to land the job. So I think that tells you something from a guy who's working for VolQuest, gets a lot of access to the team. He also commented a lot on the offensive line situation. As we reported or tweeted out earlier, Trey Smith is receiving some reps at left tackle. It's really his first contact work of the summer, but it's interesting to see him move there. He may really work in as the blindside protector for whoever ends up being the starting quarterback. And then Simonton, really the only other guy that's 100% you can almost pencil in as a starter is probably Brandon Kennedy at center. And then he said that he liked Ryan Johnson as a starter at guard, said that he thinks that his staff really trusts him, that he moves well, which is going to be involved in a lot of our pulling schemes that we're probably going to pull more in this offense. And then that he did say that he was a little bit the other guard spot is a little bit more unsure. He does think if Trey does end up sliding in at left, that they'll flip Drew Richmond over to right. And then that final guard spot will kind of be up for a fight, except for but he said that Jerome Carvin may not start week 1 against West Virginia, but that he said by the time Florida's coming to town, he would not be surprised whatsoever if Jerome Carvin was starting guard, which is another thing that I think we really hit on was
the O-line development, it sounds like, is going tremendous and is going to be a major step up like we have been saying for a few weeks now.
And obviously that's probably our weakest area of improvement, or weakest area from last year, and could very easily turn into one of our strengths this year if it works out the way we want it to.
One interesting thing I saw today, I got it pulled up, is it Cole Kubalek? Is that how you say it? He put out his top offensive tackles in the SEC for this year, and Trey Smith is number 1. As Houston Crest pointed out, It's super, super interesting considering up until practice today, he has been slotted in at the left guard. So one of the SEC Network's head analysts talked about him being the number 1 tackle, yet we had him working at guard. I think it is going to be a much better thing for the team to get him as a blindside protector, as being the best offensive lineman on this team, as long as we can still get a pretty good push going up the middle, because the run game is going to be super important, especially with a completely different scheme, a different offensive coordinator, to be able to establish a run, especially week 1 against a team that goes so fast, just like West Virginia does with their passing game. To be able to slow down the game with our running game is going to be super, super important. Do you see anything on the special teams?
Still not a whole lot of publicity about the specialists. The main other thing that Simon was reporting was on the DBs a little bit. He thinks that week 1, your starters at corner are going to be Taylor and Buchanan. He said keep an eye out for Bryce Thompson getting some playing time, especially the further into the season you get. And then he also, even though Nigel has possibly was having some struggles with coverages, he still thinks the upside there, the athleticism, and the potential. I mean, Nigel Weir is a phenomenal football player. It's hard. He's not. It's going to be hard to keep him off the field. He thinks that he and Mike Abernathy will be game 1 starters at safety.
The depth at safety is just crazy right now, because the other thing that we're hearing coming out of camp is that Chamber looks even more in position back at the safety position. He's doing the right things back there. So you're talking about those starting 2 guys, followed by Todd Kelly and Chamber, and then you also have Theo Jackson back there. To be able to have 5 different guys back there, you're not worrying about if one guy goes down, there's going to be this huge drop-off. It's something that is really nice, and something that we haven't been able to see, over the last few years. There's been 2 guys maybe at safety that you felt comfortable with, especially if you're talking about last year. All you had really was Micah and Ward.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just lost it. really you had those two guys, and if one of them went down, Todd Kelly wasn't there. Theo Jackson was a true freshman, so to be able to actually have that depth this year is going to be important. Where the depth is a little bit less is at that corner position. After those three guys that you just mentioned, you have Markel Osborne. But outside of that, there's just a lot of shakiness. You want those guys to be able to stay healthy. You don't want the true freshmen to get down on themselves. It is going to be a learning process. As long as you can keep the heads up of those young guys, I think there's some potential there. And while there may be bumps here or there, it's part of the process. But it is part of the process to get back to where you need to be as far as defense. As far as defense that you want. So.
And I think that really a shift in focus and a little bit of concern going into the season for me is definitely the defensive line. I mean, after your four essential known commodities of Shiloh, Kyle Phillips, Alexis Johnson, you have Taylor and Congo move to linebacker, so then you made who's the last line veteran?
Let's see, that's about it right there.
Well, counting on possibly contributions to freshmen and Butler, Harris, and as well as a transfer, a JUCO guy from an Emmett Gooden. I mean, he may really end up getting some serious playing time. I mean, we just don't, with moving Congo and Taylor the linebacker, our true defensive linemen, we are going to definitely be playing some freshmen, I think.
Yeah, that's true, but I think those guys are pretty much going to be defensive linemen the entire time, too. I don't think there's it. I think they'll basically be linebackers there'll be defensive linemen and a stand-up stance.
Yeah, I mean, that's
all it's going to be.
With Taylor, Jordan Allen, and then Congo, those three guys are going to be coming off the edge, and that's really what they're going to be worrying about is getting to the quarterback.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, I think it was, someone was asking Jesse Simonton about whether he, what the real emphasis was in this defense was going to be moving forward, and especially for this year, whether it was going to be on big bodies and our defensive linemen like Shiloh and Kyle Phillips making an impact, or whether it was going to be real. And I think that this makes a whole lot of sense for our roster, and I think it's honestly the way the 3-4 system is meant to be run is you have linemen who are athletic, can move, and can take up blocks, can make plays, but their number one priority is trying to give lanes and alleys for athletic linebackers like Kirkland, Batuli, Corte Sapp, Congo, Taylor. I mean, they want those guys making plays.
And that's really the importance for the defensive tackles is both Alexis Johnson and Tuttle have been reportedly doing a great job of just taking up space, taking on multiple blockers, and that's going to be important, like you're saying, to open up those lanes.
That's what you want. I mean, you want your big guys, your nose tackles, and your defensive tackles basically just take up both A gaps, or the B gap, whatever gap they're in, and hopefully push everything right there to outside the tackle where you have your two most athletic players on the field, in my opinion, waiting on them. And then you've got your inside linebackers who are going to fill in those excess gaps that aren't maybe covered, but that's what you do in a 3-4 defense right there. I mean, your linemen don't make tackles, your linebackers make them.
So here's an interesting question, and Mike, feel free to chime in on this one. Do you all feel like there will be a higher increase in sacks this year or team interceptions this year from last year? And
Sacks.
I will try to pull up those numbers.
Sacks. I think sacks.
I'm going to go with sacks as well.
I think that the 3-4 defense is great for that. For blitzing linebackers, that's basically I think mainly what you're trying to do.
We last. I'm trying to find.
We were pretty piss poor.
I know we were. I mean, we were bad. I'm not saying we weren't, but how many interceptions did we have last year?
I'm trying to find all that real quick.
I don't think there's any
Less
way.
than 10.
It was less than 10. I'm fairly certain. I don't think there's any way we have nearly as bad of a season in terms of sacks as we did last year. I mean, a 3-4 defense that's what you're trying to do. You're putting pressure on the quarterback with your blitzing linebackers.
Looks like we had 22 sacks last year.
That's it? 22 sacks, 2 a game almost? Not even? Yeah, there's no way. In that case, we probably were less than the SEC.
Yeah, we were barely
5
getting the ball.
interceptions.
5 interceptions? Ooh.
That's a low number.
It's very low.
So I think both of those numbers can
It'll definitely increase, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially if our safeties end up being as good as we hope they're going to be.
Well, I mean, we lost our leading sacker.
Who's that?
Colton Jumper.
That's my man. Okay, I love it.
Another 4.5 sacks.
From last year, if you remember, Colton Jumper is my guy. Okay, I love Colton Jumper. I think he is.
Whitey.
Whitey. Yeah, that's my dude right
Even
there.
him had no souls.
That's true. Those gingers, man. That's
Made it to the Saints.
I'm excited though with the progression that we see going on. I think it's increased our chances going forward this season and probably made a lot more people feel a little bit more optimistic going into this year, especially week one. I think West Virginia, yes, the matchup with the defensive backs against their passing game sucks. But outside of that, I think it's a game. If our running game is going to be as stable as they're hoping and are reporting that it is, that's going to be a major, major thing in this game. If we can hold them under, I still think 35 wins the game. Whichever team, 35 to 38, somewhere in that range is going to
See,
win.
I'm questioning how fast.
Turnovers.
What?
38. What?
38 points.
30. I just feel like this West Virginia offense, if we come out there slow, and I don't think, not saying that we will, not saying we won't, but if we come out there slow and they put up 21 quick on us or 14 quick on us,
We can't get
I
down.
think it's-
We can't get down.
we can't get down by that. At no point can we get down and win this game, in my opinion. If we get down, we're going to try and do too much, and they're going to run away with it.
But with a defensive-minded head coach who has studied under the likes of Mark Richt, Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher, when you give a coach like that is a mastermind, months and months to prepare, I don't think in the first half of that game that you're going to give up a bunch of points.
You see, I agree. That's very true, but we haven't seen 2 points. First off, we haven't seen Jeremy Pruitt as a head coach yet.
Correct.
Second off, while we have our defense might be a little bit on the stronger side of us, a little bit stronger than our offense, we have not seen a lot of these players, a lot of these second-string players, especially on the defensive line, especially in our secondary. We have not seen them in a game situation.
True.
A game situation, a lot. You can say anything about a player you want to practice, but you don't know how they're going to play until they're actually in the game.
Josh Dobbs is a perfect example of that, being a gamer.
Yeah.
There are certain players
That's
that are practice
perfect.
type players.
example.
But to rebuttal your first point, yes, we've never seen Jeremy Pruitt as a head coach, but we have seen Jeremy Pruitt, the defensive coordinator, and he's still calling the defense. He's essentially our defensive coordinator. He's still calling the entire defensive game, all those kinds of things. So what I expect from the defense, yeah, you can throw out the offense. We've never seen Tyson Helton call the plays before, really, outside of a couple plays. We'll never know how many plays he called at USC. But, yes, you can say that about the offense because we have no idea how Tyson Helton's going to be or as a head coach how he's going to manage that. But as far as the defense goes, we know what Jeremy Pruitt is like as a defensive coordinator. And, just from that, I don't expect him to go up 21-0. It's fast.
Yeah,
They could get to 21-0 if our offense really is struggling. But I do not see, it being 21-0 into the first quarter type thing. It's going to take multiple drives, more than just the 3, to get straight.
What are the chances we see something like an NC State, Dooley, Cordell Patterson, Tyler Bray, Zach Fathers just absolutely torching David Anderson.
Hot first half.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
There's been multiple ones. I mean, the game that everybody keeps pointing back to is the 06 Cal game. I know Eric Ames wants to talk about how this West Virginia game is very reminiscent of that year because the 2005 Tennessee team was piss poor. I mean, they
we
were
were
5-6, 5-7 that year.
7 that year, yeah.
But the entire team knew that they were better than that, just like this entire team knows that they were better than 4-8 last year. So I do see the parallels there. I don't think this is a game where we come out and, we were up 35-0 on that Cal team before they eventually scored some points at the very end of that game.
I don't think it'll be that.
No, not at all. We were up 23-0 on NC State that year.
Was it that much?
Yeah,
Yeah.
23-0.
Yeah. So I don't foresee something like that happening, but a surprise upset would not completely shock me.
I mean, I could see us winning this game, but we have to do. Our offense has to come out there, and we can't start slow. I think if we're going to win this game, we need to score in the first possession, not a field goal. We need a touchdown, just in terms of momentum for our offense. Going to have a lot of new players. I know Garantano started for us most of last year, but I'd say his confidence was pretty low after the end of last season. And now
And he's hampered,
he's hampered too. He's beat up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's just a lot of question marks in my opinion, and we'll have to work through them.
You know what I
There
heard
we go.
this week I had not heard this or read this, and maybe this is open information out there that other people have heard, but did y'all know that Dormandy got hurt last year because Batuli came on a middle linebacker blitz and just knocked the crap out of him
No.
in
Really?
practice. Yes, I heard that this week. I think it was on
Really?
1340. That's why his shoulder, it completely separated his shoulder the week before the Georgia Tech game, and that's why he was never the same after that.
And Butch did Butch
That was
do
just part of
anything
that was just part of that started the rift.
Was he in a non-contact?
It was non-contact. It was
Oh
just
my gosh!
yeah.
That
It
actually
was part of
I
their
did not
culture.
hear that.
I mean,
Yes.
Jesus.
Rashawn Gold.
I'll tell you this. I bet.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. I bet when we were up at ETSU, when I was up at ETSU,
You fall in helmet?
I did not fall on it. We had a linebacker who came on a blitz one time, and he was a non-contact drill. It was a contact drill, but the quarterback was off limits. And he came up, and he grabbed the quarterback by the helmet and slammed him onto the ground. And that kid was not kicked out of practice fast enough. I mean, the coach was out there about fastest 40 time ever, 2.2 seconds, and drug him off the field. And
Speaking of
Torvis, man. Carl Torvis, man.
You
He
got my
sprinted
video.
out of that field faster I've ever seen an old man, a 7-year-old run. And he drug him off the practice field and made him go walk back. And
hopefully he didn't slap his helmet.
he was up at 5 a.m. the next day running sprints.
I'm sure he was.
Yeah.
I just hope that Torbush didn't slap him upside the head and go put him on paid administrative leave.
Oh, Randy Sanders.
If anybody did not catch that, Randy Sanders was put on paid administrative leave earlier this year because he slapped a kid in the helmet and one of his straps came off. Just a whole big blown up fiasco.
That was the guys I know up there were, that kid is, after he tried to make that a race thing, that kid is not very well.
I'm sure. Well, speaking on the same thing about the quarterback not being touched, it was on Hard Knocks whenever it was on this week. I think Ken Wisenhut's the offensive coordinator, and Greg Williams, who is the defensive coordinator that was with the bounty stuff. They were talking, and Wisenhut was like, "No good team lets a quarterback can get hit by a defender. They're non-contact during practice." And Greg Williams just looked at him straight face and goes, "Well, you better block him then." Which killed me. So just to switch over a little bit, did anybody else have anything else they'd like to throw in about camp?
Just the one interesting note that I had not even considered this at all, but with J.J. Peterson still not being on campus, class starting next Wednesday, I mean, we're getting down to crunch time here. And the expectations for whether or not he was going to be able to contribute, obviously massively tempered at this point. But an interesting point by Dennis Huntington is that he could be an extreme beneficiary of the new redshirt rule because essentially UT would more than could look into possibly sitting him and just practicing, lifting, getting him in the strength and conditioning program for 7 months, play the last 4 games down the stretch of the season, trying to make a bowl game, and he gets a redshirt.
Yeah.
So,
but
For a guy that you're expecting to play 3 years, because that's the kind of caliber player that we're expecting. Make all that. But yeah, that is a very nice. I mean, it's an awesome.
The thing is, what does playing in those last 4 games actually do for us? I mean, who is that?
Well, you have to weigh your option. If he wins this one game that you're not going to win without him.
And then, obviously, it's a decision when it comes to those last 4 games. We're sitting with 4 wins already at that point, and maybe you don't need it.
How many top 50 players on this team do we have? Like Warrior?
Tuttle was close.
Tuttle was up there.
Not top 50.
He's top 100.
Phillips was probably closer.
Trey Smith.
Trey Smith.
That's 3 that were close. Well, 2 that were
Jumper
in.
graduated.
When you're bringing on that type of talent on your team, I think it's an opportunity. And I was, honestly, I was like, that's a great thought in order to save a guy's year of eligibility and to bring him and really to bring him into the program and get him adjusted to college football before trying to throw him out there on the field and have him contribute. Which obviously, who knows how much we'll need him out on the field with both Taylor and Combo getting moved, and then having Cortez Sapp and to Darren Kirkland. So again, like I said, it seems as though our talent, our depth is getting more and more comfortable at linebacker and defensive back. But again, that main concern, and I think that I think it will continue to be addressed in this 2019 recruiting class, is that we're going to need some defensive line help. I mean, how does Alabama dominate their like every single game?
How they dominate?
They dominate the line of scrimmage.
Defensive line.
I mean, you look at Jonathan Allen. Who was the guy last year? I mean,
big boy that returned the fumble.
That was
Terrence Cody, D-line.
that game. I remember that game very.
I mean, how many? Let's just look. I mean,
that's what they. That's a red butter right
Payne.
there.
I think it's DeAndre Payne.
Yeah, I mean, how many Alabama defensive linemen have gone in the first round in the past 8 years? I mean,
If you sign Alabama's defensive lineman, you're probably going to the fucking league.
Now, here's a question that I have, and Matt, not to get on another tangent here because we need to be switching over to the next subject, but for a kid that's struggling to graduate a high school class or whatever's going on, I mean, obviously it has something to do with a high school academic.
Yeah.
How hard is it for a kid that's struggling that much with that to be able to go into an inside linebacker role, which is, one of the more heady positions on the
a lot of times
defense.
your inside linebacker is your main inside linebacker is your quarterback in the defense.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is, if he's having such a hard time with this, and we're wanting to throw him in, he's already missed the first 11 practices of fall camp. How long is it going to take from a mental perspective, maybe not from a physical perspective, for him to get to where we feel comfortable putting him in there as one of the inside linebackers?
I mean, I've seen some in my time at ETSU. I've seen some guys who just not necessarily book smart with school. Great football players.
Yeah,
absolutely great football players. Leaders on the field, know what they're doing. The thing is that not most of your best football players aren't like that. Your best football players are straight A students. They are your smartest person off the field, smartest person on the field. And we had some of our best athletes. We had two of them actually, two really good athletes who started off at linebacker spots, and they couldn't get a hang of the mental aspect of it. They both of them ended up being defensive ends, and one of them is one of the best athletes I've ever seen in my entire life, best weightlifter I've ever seen, but one of the best defensive linemen in the so-called ETSU
I
conference.
remember watching, because he looked like, squatted 800 plus?
He squatted, I think his max ended up being like something like 880 or something like that.
I mean, kids looking at going possibly,
he's
league from ETSU.
He's got size. He's got the size and the speed to go to the league, but he wasn't smart enough to be a linebacker. He wasn't smart enough to. And somebody like JJ Peterson, if he ends up not being able to do it, be that quarterback of the defense as a linebacker, maybe he ends up putting on another extra 20 to 30 pounds being a fast defensive end.
I mean, I think it's really hard to compare academics to athletics.
It's very.
I mean, I get it that problem solving, processing, memorization. There are basics that are the same, but
when you add passion to something too, it can.
Yes.
It does. Another thing
some things click with people. I mean, if football clicks with you, football clicks with you. And honestly, if you've got a kid that,
Absolutely.
I mean, he will be an instinctual player. I don't think that it's going to be any issue. I would say that 6 to 8 weeks into the season, I would be confident that you'll see JJ Peterson out there in some format, either special teams or getting some backup.
Oh yeah, I mean, special teams. There's no way that doesn't end up happening. It'll be interesting to find out and see how it works out because there's a lot of different ways this can go, and only one of them is what we really want. We're going to end up being a great outside linebacker guy who is that smart, athletic player that we want him to be. But it's very possible it doesn't work out that way. Maybe I think it will. I think everything will be fine. He'll end up being a great linebacker, but it's just something I have to see and watch play out.
Time to switch up topics here, and let's get into something. Everybody talks about fantasy football all the time and how that really has brought in a different section of fans to the game. Our own little fantasy here. For each of us, what are the top 5 non-conference games you'd like to see the Vols play over? Let's just say the next decade. Mike, do you want to start us? Or do you want Matt?
This is without the games we currently have.
Yeah, not including the games that we already have. Not the BYU home and home.
Oklahoma,
Yeah, Oklahoma, don't include them, and don't include the Nebraska home and home that we've got coming up. Just as far as home and home series, not neutral site, because some of these towns we're a company that likes to travel. That's what our whole thing is about, is traveling to different places. So part of this is, which places are you looking most forward to traveling, or would you want to travel to for a Vol football game? So, Mike, would you like to start off? Give us your top 5.
Yeah, I'll start off. I'm looking at as my 5th team. We need some revenge against UCLA. I haven't been to Pasadena before, and losing 2 games back, 10 years back now.
I guess it was 08-09.
Yeah, about 10 years back, and that's still a team that we need to beat every time we play them.
Yeah.
Higher caliber.
Southern California would be an excellent place to travel to.
Moving from there, Memphis. That's not really a team that every year is extremely challenging.
Again, that's one we've played before. I think, was it 2011 was the last?
Yeah.
2011 we played there because that was Tyler Bray's first game that he started, and he threw 5 touchdowns.
That's right, yeah.
Which that game was like on CSS or whatever.
Right.
That you see.
Yeah,
That's CBS, Matt.
Is that
Classic.
we need this
Comcast.
From there, Ohio State.
Ohio State
Ohio State number 3.
playing up at the shoe.
Yeah, I hate Ohio State.
Everybody hates Ohio
Everybody
State.
hates Ohio State.
Let's just
except
keep
for
our
us.
girlfriends and everything away from there whenever we go.
Yeah.
Don't want Zach Smith getting near them.
Other than that, moving forward from there, Texas,
Texas is number 2.
the fake UT.
Yeah, the battle of who's the real UT.
Exactly. And if
Matt, just to let you know, whatever his face isn't the coach down there anymore. I know you can't keep up with the.
Someone.
They're not someone the guy that's down at South Florida. The black guy.
I know Tom Herman's
Charlie Strong.
Yeah, Charlie Strong is no longer-
We tried to hire Charlie Strong. Yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, I like to keep.
But
I like to keep you up to date with these kind of things.
I know. Okay, I'm not that lost over here.
and
Okay.
last but not least, we got to go to Northern School, Boston College.
Boston College.
I don't want to travel up there.
I think it would just be fun to see what the North is like. Football.
A little shipping up to Boston.
Interesting.
Yeah, as long as we can play them in early in September.
Yeah, first game.
If that's our non-conference game in November, see ya.
Yeah. No, I'll be fine.
Yeah. I like that list. I think having a couple of those that are from our past are cool things to reopen. The Memphis thing would be really interesting. I'm glad that we didn't do it over the last couple of years because I think we'd have taken a couple L's. But at the same time, all those pretty good spots outside of Boston, I think I'd like to travel to. I don't know. Memphis really is about it. When you see Beale Street, that's about it. So
Watch the Ducks.
yes, that's what I'm looking forward to doing. Matt, what do you got for your top 5?
My number 5 is probably UCLA. Yet again, what Mike said, lost to them twice. It's a team that kind of always feels like it's a West Coast. I mean, it is. It's a West Coast offense.
You want to play Chip Kelly?
Huh?
You want to play Chip
I
Kelly?
want to play Chip Kelly. Yeah, I want to play Chip Kelly.
Can we play him this year? I don't want to wait until he gets that program built up.
Yeah, no, I don't either. If he builds it up. No,
He will
I'm sure-
build it up.
I'm sure it will.
If you build it, they will come.
Field of Dreams Oh my gosh. My 4th team, I'm going to go with Texas Tech. Similar offense to UCLA. I think that just the game itself will be fun. Where is Texas Tech? That's Lubbock. Yeah, Lubbock. Ludwig. I don't know what that is. Number 3, probably Michigan. Love to travel up there. I'd love to see their stadium.
Big
love
house.
Love to go up there to the big house and give them a bunch of crap and tell them that England's that much better.
The only thing about that is so few night games in
Oh, that's
Michigan.
true. Very few night games.
I mean,
That's
because
true.
they
We get the 3:30 game, even though we suck every week. So
I think that trend, but I mean, look, already we're betting on we'll get the ESPN night slot. I doubt we get the CBS slot more than 3 times this year.
I hope not. I like night games, but don't give me noon games. I'd rather have 3:30.
I hate
Oh,
games.
absolutely.
I don't have mimosas though. It's just mimosas,
Scrambled
some
eggs.
beer pancakes.
Shower beer, eggs.
Yeah.
Great way to start your tailgating day.
We've not actually had to deal with a noon kick for an away game yet for the games that we've traveled to and set up tailgates.
I don't know if we'd be able to handle that.
We would have to handle it, getting out there at 7 a.m. and getting rowdy. That's what O&W Takeover does.
Bottle of champagne.
I'm confident in our abilities, boys.
That was for a 7 p.m. kick, Mike.
That was for a 7 p.m. kick, but that was what? 9 a.m.?
Alex and I sitting,
Oh gosh.
Get the tailgate ready.
My number two team is Texas. Real UT, kind of sort of hate them. They're slowly but surely moving to a UT or Tennessee orange instead of their burnt orange crap, whatever you want to call it.
Logo.
Yeah, I know. They're stealing our logo. I don't know. I hate Texas. And then lastly, maybe not my least favorite team ever, but I kind of just don't like them. Notre Dame. I'd love to go visit South Bend and
get a reopening old rivalry.
Kick some Catholic ass.
I'd love to see us just take it to the house and just be screaming touchdown Jesus and
I would love
Dame
that
fans.
touchdown Jesus on.
Yeah.
God,
Last time there was that game, I had to watch Jeff Samardzija just.
Oh god.
And Ainge got obliterated.
Yeah.
I remember that game. Yep.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, I didn't watch that game. I
Quinn?
didn't listen to it though.
I don't know if Quinn was a quarterback then. He may have been.
I think it was. No, it may
Is
have
that the
been-
game that Ainge got hurt too with his pinky?
I think it might have been.
I think it was too. And that started.
It's been so long.
Well, I guess I'm up. I guess I'll go 5-1 like Matt did. Starting off, I think it'd be a fun trip to Miami. I think 85 Sugar Bowl, have a little bit of history match up there. I think it'd be a good game for us recruiting-wise. We've had some matchups with them. I guess most recently that'd be Fields of Me and Tyler Bird.
Yeah.
Florida in general, big recruiting state. I think playing a big time non-conference game would be. And then I've never been to Miami, so I think everyone that I've talked to about it has a pretty good, decent time. But be careful, be safe. But I think Miami has lots to do there.
The cool thing about Miami is that there's so many different places you can stay while the actual stadium's not in Miami.
It's 45 minutes away. Isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not on campus for Miami too. I mean, it's a cool stadium because it's an NFL stadium. I believe they still play with the Dolphins do.
Mhm.
So there's that cool aspect of it.
Hard Rock Cafe Stadium now?
I think that's what it's called. Yes.
Ever changing sponsorship?
Yeah, SunTrust Park at one point. Yeah, they've always changed. But you could head down to South Beach, or you could go up to Fort Lauderdale. There's a bunch of places right there. To be close to the beach would be awesome, especially if you made that a November game. Have that late.
Absolutely.
To be able to head down there when it's 30, 40 degrees here, to head down there and it still be 60, 70 degrees would be freaking awesome.
That's one of some of our most fun trips are our bowl game trips over the winter down in Miami or where was that? Tampa, Jacksonville. Yep, those are all fun.
Continuing the same theme, I think it'd be really cool to see a Florida State home and home. I'd love to get another national championship rematch. I think that I have not gotten to see Tallahassee. I'm interested to see how Taggart's going to be as a coach there. I think that it would be a pretty good matchup for our programs.
We have a winning streak against them.
Hey,
we may not have a winning streak against any team in the SEC, but we got a winning streak against Florida State.
So, and again, I think that'd be a great game for recruiting in the state. So the history, it's a cool stadium, good fan base, prestigious blue chip program. I think it'd be a good home and home to set up in possibly in the future. Third on my list, I've got Washington. They're the only other school in the country that their stadium sits on a river, so they tailgate a little bit just like we do. I don't know that they have quite as many as the Vol Navy. They may. I haven't honestly gotten out to the Pacific West Coast at all, so that'd be an awesome trip for me.
Pack a poncho.
Yeah, I think that every now and then it's great to have a cross country road trip. Of course, we've done Oregon, we've done Cal, we've done UCLA in the past. I just think that having the distinction as two of the only two schools in the country that you can literally tailgate in a yacht and a boat, pull up to the game, walk straight up, I think it's pretty cool. Absolutely. So I think it'd be and it's known as one of the better atmospheres in college football as they, actually Chris Peterson has developed the program and had some pretty big games there. So I think that would be another great option. Not to be ultra repetitive here, I think we all here in Tennessee may just honestly have this little bit of rivalry, but I'd love a game with Texas. I'd love a series. I think I have not been on their campus. I've never been to Austin. Went down to A&M, been to Dallas, but it's a great state. But honestly, it's bragging rights. It's the real UT. So I think obviously two of the most prestigious football programs in collegiate football history. We played once, twice, maybe, or have we played it all?
I don't remember.
We may not have played ever, but like I think that again, maybe this is I'm way too focused, but I mean look, games on my list, Texas is another huge recruiting state. I think the more games that you can have that are going to be massive public national audience and that are going to be easily accessible to get and be a visitor, official or unofficial, I think that you take every opportunity you can do that to play and perform and get your brand, get your program out there. So I think
Texas has a current winning.
Yeah, Texas has a current win streak,
2-1. When was the last one? 34?
Their last win was in 1969.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see a game against the Longhorns. Although Tom Herman really seems to be having the program heading in the right direction. It'd be maybe a couple years before we take that one on. And then my number one top 5 non-conference matchup is USC. I have always legitimately hated USC.
I think we all kind of have.
I mean, couldn't stand Pete Carroll, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush growing up. I mean, they were incredible, but you just couldn't stand them. I mean, they were so good. They were almost nigh unstoppable. But I've never been to California, Southern Cali is just beautiful. Going to LA, and another obviously California recruiting. Huge.
Yeah.
I mean, almost. I mean, you
to be able to get any kind of presence out there, being in Southeastern team is. You'll take that any day of the week, and that's why it'd be important to get out there for a Rose Bowl at some point to play in a bowl game out there. I'm sure it helped out Georgia tremendously playing out there last year. Mm-hmm. Same with Oklahoma. If you all have not been paying attention, Oklahoma is pulling in recruits left and right now. I mean, this is one of their better recruiting classes that they've had in the last decade.
I mean, in all honesty, right. I think that Oklahoma may have legitimately taken a step forward as a program with Lincoln Riley as their head coach as opposed to Bob Stoops, and that's saying something.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, Bob Stoops is a hell of a football coach.
And I've been saying every time that the offensive coordinator position came open here for the last 6-7 years, I kept saying Lincoln Riley. I think Lincoln Riley. I've said the same thing about Matt Canada, and we've seen, he was pretty trash at LSU last year. Though he's getting his chance, he's interim coach at Maryland.
Well, and his quarterback situation was pretty garbage.
Well, LSU's quarterback situation has been garbage.
It's been garbage. What was it? Did you see that? What's that guy? SEC Mike. They haven't had a quarterback stay there for 4 years since
Jefferson. No, I think it was Jefferson.
After that, Jordan Jefferson.
Yeah.
I believe it was Jordan Jefferson.
And they had every quarterback that they've recruited.
It was like something like 14 quarterbacks had not.
They've not kept a quarterback from the 2013 class until now. They haven't been able to keep him from transferring. Every single quarterback from the 2013 class until now has transferred from the program.
Wow.
Yes. So that's pretty incredible. So
I mean, we talk about the issues that our program has had and faced due to attrition. I mean, that's. If you're losing your quarterback,
or Jefferson. I mean,
we like to talk
about Jefferson.
Obviously, we talk about it in hindsight, talking about Dooley's woes and not recruiting a single offensive lineman in his time here. But good grief! I mean, if every single quarterback that you recruit is transferring, I mean, that's horrible.
Yeah,
you cannot build a program.
Absolutely. So
you're 5.
Yeah, I've got an interesting 5 here. I've got a couple repeats, but I've got a couple that haven't been mentioned. Number 5 on my list, I got Colorado. I think
you won.
I love it. I think
it'd be a great game.
I think home series with them to be able to go out to it's Boulder, right?
Yeah, Boulder is right outside of Denver. And it is a gorgeous.
I would love it.
It's a gorgeous campus. I just drove through it and it's pretty.
And if you talk about back when Tennessee used to be really good from the 90s up to the early 2000s, Colorado was also a really good team during that time. So both. Yeah. So if both teams could get back to that point and then have a home series, I think it'd be pretty awesome. And that, again, you're establishing something on the western coast, not quite the coast, but the western. You know what I'm talking about, part of the country. Number 2, I got FSU. Again, I think the history there makes that one a special one. Both fan bases are, extreme, I think is the best word to use. And
Fair.
to be able to go down to Tallahassee would be an interesting trip. We actually got to see the field and their indoor practice facility this past spring break, which is pretty cool. And it's a very different stadium than a lot of the ones that we're used to seeing. But I think that would be pretty awesome to get going again. 3, I got Penn State. I know a couple of these guys have talked about putting Penn State on their list, but especially if James Franklin is still the coach, I'd love.
Yeah, that's one I wish I kind of. That was probably my 6th one right there.
It'd be awesome to go up there. It'd be a pretty cool town. I mean, it's a college town. It's one of the top party schools up there. I mean, there's a bunch of different things that'd be positives about going up there for that football game, and it'd be a heck of a football game, especially if you gave us a couple of years to get ready to go up there. Number 2, just like the rest of y'all, Texas, the Battle of the Real UT. We've dug into it enough. I'm just going to skip right over that. Number 1, I don't know how all y'all forgot about this because I think this should be number 1 for pretty much anybody around this area, but playing Clemson. With it being,
And I thought about it. I considered it, but
I mean, it's a 3-hour drive.
I want to play it, but in all legitimacy, it's one of those games like, okay, do you want to set yourself up with a non-conference, pretty much national championship contender right now?
I'm not, but it's not upcoming. I'm just saying sometime in the next 10 years. It could be a little bit down the road.
Totally
this upcoming year. Plus, I mean, with it being so close, it's one of the coolest stadiums, especially it's a pretty, people can say whatever they want about their pregame, whatever. Coming down that hill off the bus and slapping the rock is a pretty cool, pregame thing.
Tradition.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool thing. So to see a bunch of those different things would be a pretty awesome thing. But and I know we were talking about home and homes, but there has been some talk recently about that being the next battle at Bristol, being Tennessee against Clemson.
No, I would love to see that.
Which would be an awesome one. And while we're talking about neutral site games, there's one that came to my head that I would really, really like, and that would be a neutral site. Neutral, it's not really neutral, but us against Wisconsin at Lambeau.
Whoa. That's not really a neutral site.
It's not in their home stadium.
But it would.
I mean, it's not a neutral.
Can you imagine? I mean,
we travel well.
LSU played against them.
It'd be 50-50 max 60-40. I mean, UT travels.
I believe it.
It doesn't matter. We can,
especially with a historic venue like
we
that.
played Oregon.
Oh yeah, no, I would.
I mean, we played at Oregon and had a good amount of fans there.
I could definitely see us traveling well there. Neutral site, not really. I mean, I think what was it, Alabama last year played who in?
Florida State.
No, I'm
Yeah,
thinking of a
it's
different. I'm thinking of a different.
LSU played against Wisconsin and Lambeau 2 years ago.
That was in Lambeau, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I have no doubt that we would travel.
There's
like
a big game
That
in,
would be a fun game, though.
I think there's a big game in Chicago this year where the Bears play. I think there's a big neutral site game this year. I can't think of it right now, but at Soldier Field. But yeah, for those of y'all at home, feel free to tweet at us about what games you'd like to see a home-and-home series with. I'm sure there's a bunch of different ones that we missed that would be interesting ones, whether that's an Oklahoma State that you're playing or, some other teams like that. And, yes, we have the Oklahoma one coming up, which is fantastic. I think that would have been on all of our lists because of the history that has been there, especially the last little bit.
The last one especially, that was...
And Nebraska would have been on my list. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but to revamp that series from the 90s, too, is pretty awesome. Now, I do not want to play them as Scott Frost has got them,
Yeah, if Scott
coming
Frost
into
gets them
form, which won't be good.
I'm even excited about this BYU series, honestly.
It is a different one. Utah would be another one, just to be able to go.
Yeah.
Anytime that you can go out west and have an excuse to go out west is pretty awesome.
I think we got to try and make those trips right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt.
So to go into our next little segment, I know we're running 15 minutes left. I want to talk about which fan bases in the SEC are the most annoying to you all. And just feel free to go off, and then we'll all pitch in and say why we think they're the worst, or whatever. And that each person can kind of give who they think is the worst. Mike, you look excited. Mike looks excited for those of y'all at home.
Georgia.
Concurred.
Horrible fans.
Anytime that you get beat by a Butch Jones-led team on a Hail Mary.
2 years in a row.
Well, on a Hail Mary in Athens.
Okay.
And you're going to come up to me after the game and start barking at me. Especially now, if I saw that girl and the guy that was keeping her on a leash, because she was hammered. But if they come to me, I would just look at Tennessee's tough to 1-8. You barked at me after losing to Butch Jones. I mean, just let that sit in. And it's awful. You can't. And from the different stories, I know usually Auburn fans get the worst of it when it comes to Georgia fans and getting peed on, spit on, all those kinds of things. Tennessee fans don't really deal with that as much, but they're pretty pitiful. What do you think, John? I mean, you've had around minutes.
I mean, yeah, it was the trip down there, experience after experience, whether it's real life, on social media, whatever. Georgia fans have quite the annoying reputation. I mean, they're not only annoying, they're loud. Just everything about them, you don't want to be around. You can't stand, and it's like, even if I was a fan of your team, I probably still wouldn't like you. I mean, that's my. I mean, I had.
And they're triggered easily.
Basically,
don't doubt it.
They're
It's a
triggered
triggered
easily.
slogan.
You know, to tell them that they haven't won a national championship.
Gibbs.
in
They're
30,
85?
That's getting justice
Yeah.
right there. Huh?
33 years.
So I mean, and then of course, almost had our set of skirmishes down in Athens.
We have, yes. That's
But that's a story for another time.
car got in the way.
I just say nothing makes me more sick winning off a Hail Mary to see a team in the national championship the following year. Those fans went crazy, and they will rub it in your face over and over.
All you have to remind them is, what was it, 3rd and 27?
Yeah.
Just that's all you got to say. Just 3rd and
There's
27.
27.
Roll Tide.
I mean, and see, honestly, while we're giving Georgia so much crap, if this had been 2015, I 100% would have told you Florida.
Agreed.
Because
After going down there
Yeah.
last year, I didn't think that
Poor
the
fans.
younger Florida
Oh,
fans were
I-
that bad. I think the older, the ones that remember the 90s, I guess, is the ones that are so bad.
But
But
when you lose a team 12 or 11 years in a row, that I mean, a lot of those guys growing up, they never saw UT win.
yeah, I mean, so John and I were
Not much of a rivalry.
actually down at the game in Gainesville Special when we lost on that Hail Mary. There was some bickering back and forth, blah blah blah, between our fans and theirs. It was old ladies for the most part. I mean, as far as what I was seeing, it's 56-year-old ladies. They're saying yeah 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 yeah, and Tennessee fans like, come on,
I mean,
you're a 50-year-old lady.
I
I'll put you 6 feet deep.
we didn't really. I mean, honestly, down in Gainesville, we really didn't have that many issues. I guess a little bit at the
We got
bar.
working.
Yeah, a little bit at the bar, but other than that, I mean, not bad. But like,
And when you flip off a picture of T-Boone, you're bound to get it.
but growing up, I mean, it was like I can remember as a kid having adult Florida fans chomping at my
Oh,
face,
yeah, no,
and
I remember that
it's
too.
like, and literally going into that 2016 game, it was the hope that in my adult life I can literally just chomp in a motherfucker's face, it was a goal, and I'm so glad. But I want to beat the absolute brakes off of Florida again. It's one of the most rewarding
I
things. Rewarding experiences in Neyland Stadium. I love it. I can't wait until we get to experience that with Bama again. It's going to be great.
I would be okay with going 1-11 if we beat Florida by 60 points. I would
I'm
legitimately
not
be okay.
taking that.
I would legitimately be okay with that. Not okay. Not okay.
Bama.
Not okay. I have a lot of questions, but if we beat Florida, if we just whip Florida's ass, I would be okay. I would be okay with being 4-8 at the end of this year. Not okay, but I would feel at least have a little bit of satisfaction.
Would Butch have kept his job if we went 5-7 and beaten Florida?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
Very, very, very possibly.
Yes. Because
John
imagine
Puppet
this:
Curry.
you beat Florida.
I'm sure.
You beat Florida. You got Georgia the week after. You got Alabama the week. Was that the week after that? I don't know. South Carolina was a good team. Missouri was Missouri.
That was a bad game.
Missouri got so lucky last year.
They really did.
They played
Those
Butch in his
fans-
last game.
Those fans were annoying for a different reason. Those fans, Noah will say differently, and John will say differently. But last year was the first time I've had to deal with Missouri fans. Man, they were too nice.
You got a split of Missouri fans. Missouri fans are some of them.
They're like
younger. There's a young, wealthy crowd that is at Missouri. You know, and I've run into them a lot of times. People that live in St. Louis and come over for the games. And Missouri fans. Those are the nice ones. It's the 40, 50-year-old ones that they just sit there.
So it
and
sounds like the old hags for all these
Yes.
teams. the ones
Well,
that lost.
not for all these teams. Obviously,
Yeah.
you got the 10 Vanderbilt fans that are always, no matter what age.
That's, that was my very next team. I
Vanderbilt is probably my
can't.
least favorite
I
too.
can't stand
If
it.
you live in the state of Tennessee, you're a Vanderbilt
Please
fan.
act like you're relevant
Yeah,
when
sure,
you've won 3 out of the last 35.
My ACT score was better than yours.
like or 4 or 5. Oh, and guess what? And you want to play that argument, and they won't win. Not a lot of them are going to win that argument. So with me, so it's like, God, I cannot stand Vanderbilt fans.
We had a successful season. We beat Tennessee and went 4-8. It's just what Matt was saying with the Florida thing.
That's the whole point. I mean, and that's the telltale sign of a program that relishes small victories, and that has never really.
You feel sad for them. You really do. You got. It's like you pick them, but also
you show up to Nashville and you're like, all right, where are we going to tailgate? Where are we like? And it's like there are no tailgates.
We're doing math.
James Franklin was your senior, and James Franklin is gone now.
It's hilarious. Like I went to what year was that? 2014.
Yep.
Yeah, in Nashville. I mean, it was one of their better years, and we were sitting in the Vanderbilt student section, and you could freely move about that stadium. I mean, it's your big in-state.
It's orange whenever it's there.
Big in-state rivalry.
More than half, yeah.
That it's the big in-state rivalry, last game of the season. Like this should be the climax, the biggest thing for your football team, and that was their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We beat them, and it's like you can't even sell out or get close to selling out your stadium.
It's the only climax a lot of their fans will feel. Sorry, that joke was just there. I had to take it.
I say we drop Vandy, we add Memphis to the SEC. That's why.
Whoa.
Yeah, here we go.
I said
You said what?
And then you can go put Vandy in the Ivy League.
It gives us one
Baseball man.
I'd say I like having Vandy in the league only because so many people love to give the SEC academic crap because they don't recognize the level academics that Georgia, Florida, and UT are at.
And even Alabama.
And Alabama is on the like. And honestly, the funny part is that when you get into the research on that, is that their enrollment and a lot of things have risen. The quality of students and applications have risen with their football program.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
It was so funny. One of the
everybody wants to go there at that point.
Winners want to go to winners.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's a good point.
People that are successful when they see a team that does well on the field and looks like a fun college that will party and have a great time, that's where they look because they did it on UT right after the Juwan Jennings Hail Mary. For the next month or two, UT's admissions website had 4 times their normal traffic. I mean, it happens, and that's exposure. That's what I was talking about earlier. National TV games in big recruit states where they can get there and see it for themselves and experience it. Yep. I mean, that's what recruiting is getting kids on campus to see. I mean, time after time, you will see it in interviews at games here in Neyland. Players literally are like, I have never. It doesn't matter where they come from, Texas, anywhere. I mean, Neyland Stadium is a one-of-a-kind atmosphere.
Oh, Baker Mayfield and Trevor Knight both said the same thing.
They said the exact same thing.
It's the loudest place we ever played at. And granted, they played in the Big 12. And as we've seen in both Missouri and Texas A&M, they all like to have a good cuddly party. Thank you for coming to our stadium.
But I mean, still,
thank you.
There's nothing like SEC football. There's nothing like Tennessee when you're playing a big game.
Yeah. I mean,
that's just a fact. That's a fact of the matter. You might find something similar, okay, at Michigan playing Michigan State or Ohio State playing Penn State. Penn State playing Ohio State. Select few other places. Tennessee's what? 4th largest stadium now?
You got Michigan State, Penn, and then Bama and A&M. We're 5, I believe.
All right, A&M shrunk a little bit because of some of the renovations.
We were at 1 of 5.
Well, when A&M did their original renovations, I 100% remember this. They built the stadium to have 40 or 50 more seats in it. So unless they have again gone back in and done luxury renovations and taken down the capacity above. Yeah.
102,733.
Yeah, it's 200, 300 seats above us, a little bit less. So I mean, they did it on purpose to try and get just above us. But I mean, I get it. I mean, if you can claim to be the 4th biggest stadium in the country, go for it. I mean, UT has decided, and honestly, I'm okay with it. We're still a massive stadium, and that they're going to put their money into revitalizing the concourses, making the concessions nicer, making the bathrooms nicer, installing the Tennessee Terrace, club seating. I mean, Neyland, if we end up going through with the projected renovation,
take away our troughs.
Which Fulmer is. I don't know if y'all heard this, but Fulmer is actually all of the renovations that were approved under Curry. He's like going one by one and combing through it and saying, "Is this necessary? Is this not?" I still think that we're going to have, I think that we're going to have a multi-$100 million renovation, just because. I like the plan because I think that getting the Riverside side of the stadium updated to mirror the Gate 21 style architecture and everything, to give it like a revitalization and really modernize it, I think will be huge. And I think that it would put Neyland almost again at a level of its own.
You know what I vote more than anything is a video board instead of those pictures up there, so it's not so freaking hard to change those pictures.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but
there's no reason not to have a video board up there.
Energy costs and cost of installment and cost. I mean, because
cost of installment.
If we're trying to make that side of the stadium look better, I think that would be.
The most popular.
I mean, you're talking about the energy costs. If you're rotating between pictures, I'm sure they can offset that cost with. Oh, here's a picture of this VFL great. Oh, here's a picture of
pilot.
Dish out. And then, I'm sure those things will offset. Yes.
We stand charged.
Yeah, y'all were correct on the stadium capacities. You got Michigan 1, Penn State, Ohio State, Texas A&M, then us, and then barely by 100 is LSU behind us.
That's true.
So,
that's one of the games. That's one of the games that I really would love to go see next time. I want to see how Tiger Stadium is.
Yes.
Well, we gotta wait. What?
Wow.
7 years to go there.
Yeah, coach, you won't be out there next time we play them.
He will not.
I mean, I see.
He will not be something after Waterboy, huh?
I think it's
Coach O was a mad boy.
I think it's curious that we hit on Georgia, Florida, Vandy, and we didn't say Bama fans. In all
Kentucky basketball fans?
Kentucky basketball.
Let's just talk about them in the same category because they're the same.
They're the worst.
The worst, no. Tennessee football fans, Kentucky basketball fans. But I bet they're not Kentucky basketball fans anymore. You know what I mean?
Probably not.
I've always been a Tennessee fan. Shut up.
Kick him out of here.
Welcome.
I don't know. Alabama football fans are something else. I think it's a similar situation.
They don't talk. They don't talk.
I think it's a similar situation.
They won't even talk to you. They won't. You're like, hey, dude, yeah, y'all suck. And be like, no, we don't. Just keep walking.
Yeah.
At that point, you're like,
they're just right. They're just spoiled.
What do you say?
Yeah, I'm sure that it was a lot worse back before Saban.
I mean, obviously, our friend who made the extremely poor decision of attending the University of Alabama.
He was all paid for.
When he
took the easy.
Not an excuse.
I mean, when he's faced with the option of going to a national championship game, and he's like, "Well, I've already been and watched this." It's like, are you shitting me?
Why would I do it this
that
year?
Was his argument. He went to one and he didn't go to the next one because he's already been to one. Okay.
So I would do anything to have my program at that level, but I mean, it's understandable why.
I can tell you this: I wouldn't miss. Tennessee went to 4 national championships in a row. Wouldn't miss one of them. Wouldn't miss one of them.
I'd be in a lot of debt.
Taking out loans, baby.
I would be in a lot of debt too.
Get yourself a low APR financing.
Taking out a second mortgage on a house, man.
No longer be living at the treehouse. Living in the back of my car. All right, well, this has been a fun show. I think we've had a lot of fun, gotten a little humorous at points. Anything else y'all want to throw in as we wrap up?
Have a good week. Almost, 17 days to game day?
17 days. We'll continue the countdown up until kickoff. We'll get the parking information out soon. As far as Charlotte goes, we're deciding if we're going to wait until that day or to go ahead and purchase our parking for the tailgate. Anybody is welcome to come to our tailgates for the away games. Be a good place for a lot of all fans to meet up and have a good time. So
absolutely. Also, any Charlotte Panther or Carolina Panthers fans out there with insider info, feel free to hit us up in the email, on Twitter, whatever. We're really looking for a lowdown on these garages and lots because they don't have a lot of information out there. So we'll get it out there to you as soon as possible. We're getting real excited for this Charlotte trip and game. So here we are with Orange&White Takeover. I guess signing off August 15th. I don't think we have anything else here, do we, boys?
I think we're good. See you guys next week. Signing off here, Matt Brewer,
John Broyles,
Mike Beckham,
and Noah Caldwell. We're out of here.
The dash is digi, the schedule busy. My head in a hoodie, my shorty a goodie. My cousins are crazy, my cousins like boogie. Life is amazing, it is what it should be. Been here for 10, but I feel like